Oh, snap. Not bad there. LK with an undercut and rally from a slight low. A little bit elevated right now. Yesterday would have been a better buy. Hey, what's up, Eli? Twilio. Looking really good here, trying to make the right side of a cup or something. Like the volume increasing here, too. That's really nice. Oh, yeah, I ditched it, too. Yeah, I just had to. It actually had a really good support day, day before yesterday here. So I was perfectly fine with, I even added part of a position. Um, but then yeah, yesterday I ended up ditching it. Yes. Yeah, hold on a sec. Hold on, guys. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Kiddos in the morning. Yeah, sometimes you got something that looks good and ends up not being good. So what you gonna do? So we'll see. It could come back. We could have another entry opportunity at some stage. Um, yeah. So there's the 50-day moving average. We actually didn't undercut that, which is good. But you never know how these things are gonna go. Look at some of those MJ names that were looking so promising towards the end of the year last year. CGC, one of the better ones, really hasn't gone anywhere yet. Ouch. Yeah, sometimes you get those big reversals that happens fast. Yeah, it hit me pretty good too. KG. Yeah, not bad. Only looks like two pocket pivots, so that's good. Crossing some moving averages. There's the 50-day being taken out. Also loosely took it out over here. Well underneath the trend line. Still some room to go. Itlazi, we noted yesterday, was looking really nice coming out of this trend line. That's pretty good. Who the hell's calling me from Birmingham, Alabama? No one I want to talk to. CRISPR Urban. The lows aren't that low today. Only about 3%. That's not too bad. How's Roku doing? Actually able to hold up relatively well. Not much to do down here. Moving averages are converging. Could be up to something in the future. Protolabs. Protolabs actually looking pretty good right here. Look at how tight this thing's gotten. Past 6 weeks. I know 2 of those are holiday weeks, but it's been getting pretty tight. All those moving averages getting really tight. I could be ready for a pop of sorts. All right, a line actually moving through the line right there. Not a tremendous amount of volume, but it's at least not pulling back in. So a line, one of those very long-term turnarounds. A very aggressive trend line. Of course, maybe it's just the time frame I have, but I still think that's one of the more aggressive ones. Also real deep too. I'm not sure if that necessarily applies, but it really hadn't had many bases coming in. Choppy area here, then it got real choppy here. That's not too bad. So line for longer term holders, 283 to 400 is your recent high. EOG trying to rebound. Okay, into the cup formation. Carvana not bouncing back yet. Maybe I think we mentioned yesterday this one with, a couple of highs. A couple of failures to go into new highs here. Looking like it's rolling over. Best case situation here is probably some moving average support or trend line support. Match.com doing pretty good after moving out of those lows at about 70. So CN Trex, TRN. CME supported the 200 period moving average. I'm not sure if we were really looking at this one before, but it came up to the 200, just kind of hanging out and then starting to curl up a little bit here above the moving averages, which are right on top of each other. I think on this day they're really close to each other. Oh, look at that day right there. 0.2% between all the moving averages. And so your long-term moving average the moving average on top over here turns into the moving average on the bottom on the right. That's a bit of a turning point right there for CME Group. So that could be a situation to get involved in. It looks like it's still in a decent spot. You've got that trend line, and it starts looking not bad. All that Fed money giving them some earnings, I guess. Right along. This is the 40-week moving average, which is akin to the 200-day. NASDAQ turning a little bit red here. Let's take a look at some of the bigger names. Market went a little red, so I wonder if some of them turned around. Apple's down 0.54%. Facebook down a smidgen. Microsoft in between. Teva? Morning, Craig. Let's look at Teva. Tiva, interesting. Could be undercut and rally candidate. That would be your undercut level. Looks like a little bit above there, actually. Something like that from a while ago. So that could be that could be an interesting situation. It's not really in a major uptrend though. That's one of the things I wouldn't necessarily be super interested in. But it is in a smaller uptrend. So if that uptrend is to continue, um, that could be an interesting opportunity. Looks like we kind of have a descending pennant flag thing going on here. Not sure how much your upside is probably capped due to that for right now, at least. Not a lot of bullish pocket pivots. Back over here, you have 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 pocket pivots, maybe a 5-day pocket pivot right there. So actually quite a few pocket pivots on the run up. The volume's been pretty crazy for the past couple of years. Not sure why. Huh, interesting. Not sure it's quite ready for prime time. But if this is one you're interested in, that could be an entry level for an undercut and rally scenario. And then you're looking for it to stall up here, probably just under the $10 level, depending on how fast it gets up there. So that's not horrible. Tesla's just been doing super good. I watched a video on YouTube last night, so I mean it's a YouTube video. I'm not sure how valid their research is going to be, but they talked about Tesla in 2020, and they do have a big year ahead of them. They got the semi truck rolling out supposedly, and same with the Roadster, Model Y. I think the Model Y is supposed to come out this year. Model Y release date, unless it's early 2021. No, it says summer 2020. So we'll see how that goes. So they have that. I guess they have a bunch of energy tax credits they've been doing too. A couple billion here, a couple billion there, SQ, it's just languishing at this stage of the game. If you look at it on the weekly chart, look at this thing on the weekly chart. We kind of had a trend line here. It destroyed that, so we kind of have to draw a new one, which may get destroyed again. This just hasn't performed. I've pretty much taken it off of my list of things to watch. I looked at it earlier today, but prior to that, honestly, I don't think I've looked at it in a while. It's just been languishing. So it's never good to forget about a stock, and this could be one of those longer term turnaround plays once it finally starts to shape up. Maybe down here at the 70 level coming up in the next coming months. If it can, hold this trend line, then break out from this trend line, maybe we'll get another nice rally. For whatever reason, sometimes you don't know why these things start to go, especially out of these larger patterns. It's really hard to, I don't think it's anything fundamental. Well, sometimes it's fundamental, but I don't think it's anything that you could look at an event and go, oh, that's why it broke out there and topped here and broke out here. I think it's just the selling pressure meets the buying pressure, and then the buying pressure takes over. And nobody wants to sell at those prices anymore. Then it just rockets higher. But this could be a candidate for that. Actually, probably should put this on a long-term turnaround play. There we go. Long-term turnarounds for Square. So, yeah, I think it's good for a watch list. I'm not sure if it's good for action right now, though. Unless you just want to buy it and wait for it to get back up. Because actually, let's go back there. Let's say you're tuned into the fundamentals of Square and it's doing fine and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not in a bad spot on the chart. You kind of have, I guess it's a little bad. You're in the middle part of this range, which always sucks to get in. If it was lower, which it probably would have been earlier this week. Yeah, today it looks like it's about 3%. You didn't have a lot of opportunities to buy it lower on the daily chart, so. Yeah, it could be in one of those situations where if you want it for longer term, maybe you just pick up some. You don't take a full position size. You just take enough to make you watch it, and then try to see how it all plays out. But longer term, I think it's got a ton of potential out of this long-term turnaround situation. The volume declining the entire time. They're not really selling this thing off en masse. If you look at the volume of the weekly, it's really, really light, especially for the last quarter of the year. It got lighter and lighter. A couple of holidays built in there. But even over here, you see the elevated volume, then it starts to drift off right there. You start to see a change in behavior in the volume, and it goes really light, and that's when you start going sideways. So if you view that on any other time scale, you'd be thinking, okay, this thing's going to pop. That's usually one of the things I like to see in a coin or a stock that that is in a low situation that may start to go, is lighter volume as we're going sideways. And that's what we're getting here in Square. So definitely a longer term candidate. Can't say when it's going to break out, but I think it's on a good watch list. I just threw it on my long term turnarounds. But yeah, going back to Tesla, that thing has a lot of tailwinds behind it. Apparently Shanghai Tesla is open now and delivered its first car about a week ago, the 30th of December, if I remember some of the tweets correctly. That puts it at 10 months. At 10 months from groundbreaking to completion. That is insane for a building of that size. And when they talked about, so the video I saw yesterday, I forget who it was, some guy. And again, I'm not sure. Some of his information was a little bit pumpy. You know, you get these videos that are just kind of pumpy. It was definitely a pumpy video, but some of the things were accurate. Some of the things were a little bit fudged. So the tax credits, Tesla selling tax credits, that's a thing. And apparently they've been doing that for a while. That's nothing brand new, but they just apparently just announced a deal worth $2 billion over the next couple of years. So that gives them a little more runway just to build yet another gigafactory. And you know, I think I've said this before, with Tesla, they're building these massive factories. I'm really viewing it like people renting houses. Each one, once you build it, kind of becomes a cash machine. And so, you know, he's got 4 gigafactories right now. The main one in Reno. He's got one in California. I'm not sure if he considers that a gigafactory, though. He's got one in New York, which everyone forgets about, myself included, until not a while ago. Now he's got the one in Shanghai. Now they're going to build one in Germany. So once you start getting these houses built, they start paying for themselves and the following house. So Tesla will definitely be cash flow positive, barring any crazy event, or when they want to reinvent, I don't know, the wheel, actually reinvent the wheel. That'll probably take some R&D, but so yeah, I mean, I think they're in a good spot. I think that they've hopefully gotten over the hump. I mean, I don't think this was, I forget what caused this to ramp up. I forget there, but hopefully this isn't just a one and done scenario. We're going to get up to 5, I think, and hopefully we don't stall there. We stalled at 4 here. You know, we went from basically 0 to 200 with a quickness. This is on a weekly chart. There's 200. Yeah, went from 0 to 200 with a quickness. Then from 2 to 4 relatively quickly in one burst. Maybe we go from, I mean, this still looks like 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 6. Who knows in what kind of time frame, but yeah, hopefully we don't go into another much longer basing period. Hopefully a much more steady earnings growth. And, you know, I've always said Tesla's going to be a $1,000 stock, and I think it could get there. In terms of time frame, I have no freaking clue. You know, maybe it gets up there in 3-4 years, something like that. Just a nicer rally, a couple of bases, but at least a much more prolonged uptrend than we've seen in the past. And it's funny, I actually went back and I have an old retirement account I forgot I had that has like, it's one of those accounts that lets you do partial shares. So I think I have half a share of Tesla in it from years ago. And my average, I think it was through this chop, my average fill was 230 on it. And then I go over here and I look at this, my average fill is like 240. So I got the same average fill over here recently than I did over here during all this chop. So it's kind of funny a little bit how choppy Tesla's been. But I mean, ideally it's done with the choppy years and we go into more of a steady trend. So you know, at some point we'll get a much deeper correction, and I'll probably be loading up some buckets. Maybe I'll just save some Tesla money and just start loading buckets. But with some more normalized chart patterns, which we've only had a couple rallies in Tesla. The first one had an actual high tight flag, went on to do very well. The next one was really this cup and handle. I know the charts are really small and hard to see. There we go. So there's just a cup. It never really handled out. So there's a high tight flag. I actually bought that, and I traded that up until that spike right there, I think. So I bought the high tight flag over there. I bought this cup and handle over here, and now I bought this over here. So I've pretty much taken almost every leg from Tesla except for the super early leg, unfortunately. I thought about it back here in like 2011, 2012, I forget where, but I never did pull a trigger. Anyway, but yeah, that would have been fun. But other than that, I've taken most of the legs out of, I think I even took a little bit, not a lot out of this one, a little bit, little bit. And now getting this one. So I think I'm holding on to this one from now on. And like I said, if all the cash flow stuff's behind them, and they can start to see some regular earnings, which I'm not sure if Tesla's earnings will ever be completely regular because Elon Musk is a little bit of a weirdo, but at least a lot more consistent and positive. We'll just get shakeouts that scare the crap out of people. And yeah, we'll see $1,000 Tesla, but I mean, from a percentage-wise, from $450 to $1,000 isn't that tremendous? I mean, really. Down here in the twos, it's much better. But up here in the 450s, which were, 462, that's crazy. We talked about the other day that Tesla was going from, I wasn't even thinking about percentages. I was looking at the chart. I'm like, oh, yeah, we broke out from 4 here. I'm like, oh, what's the next big number? Oh, probably 500. That looks like a good place to get to, and the measured move takes us there. I'm like, wait a minute, that's 25%. And 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we're over halfway through that 25% target. So yeah, that's basically a measured move target from that. So we spent a little bit more than 5 days up here with a little pullback, but just really tremendous moves for Tesla, and finally getting the shorts are actually going to give up at some point, and they're going to have to push this thing, and they're going to have to pay dearly for it. And if it is oil companies, they're not going to care. So anyway, I'm really viewing Tesla like an Amazon or an Apple, or it's going to be a big stock conglomerate that. I mean, it does everything. It ticks every box. It's really cool too when you look at Tesla. I mean, let's look what Tesla does. If you want me to move on, I can. I'm just really enjoying this mind thought right now. That video yesterday really kind of piqued my interest. How many industries they're in? You look at the industries and look at the competition. You add up all those market caps, and you get to huge market caps, right? They're into cars, which is GM, Toyota, right? Those are the biggies, and they've already almost exceeded those market caps right there. Then you have semi-trucks, which GM and Toyota don't even compete in that. So when they finally start rolling out semis, whenever they're going to do that, sometime this year is supposedly the timeline, that's a whole other industry segment that is comparably massive, with very high ticket prices and arguably probably pretty high margins. And apparently, those semis pay for themselves in 2 years, so I may have to just start buying some Tesla semi-trucks. And then they have their solar, which is a whole other industry. Then they have their industrial power, which is a whole other industry. And then there's another one in there too. Oh, they're gonna have they're having subscription services, which is smaller, but you get enough people in those, and especially the semi-truck drivers, you can end up with several million subscribers for $10 a month. That gives you 50 million a month to run with. And then they're doing I should write all these down before I go into the synopsis. I keep forgetting about them. So subscriptions. Oh, they're selling upgrades with their cars too, which I didn't know they were doing. And this could be a moneymaker for them. Tesla upgrades over the air. So they're doing some over-the-air updates all the time with stuff, which they basically pioneered, as you guys know. But they're also doing some upgrades that Tesla owners can pay for. And I didn't know they were doing this, but this could, another revenue stream. They have all this stuff, and they have the gateway to your car. They basically own your car. When you think about it, you don't own it anymore. They basically own it, even though you pay for it. So, but there's one over-the-air upgrade for like $2,000. You can get like half a second quicker, 0 to 60 on a Model S. So that kind of goes in the cars. But that's almost a recurring revenue stream that a lot of the manufacturers don't have. So you have updates, subscriptions. And if you look at them, everyone's talking about the cars, but then you have the semi-trucks, the solar power, the subscription services, and, I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting there too. But anyway, they're like a bunch of industry groups, and they're being touted as just a car company. That's like saying Amazon just sells books. Anyway, so yeah, that's me out. That's me going on and on about Tesla. But I mean, what are you gonna say? Nothing else. Nothing bad to say about that company. Boeing down here at the 320 or support, that could be interesting. I think we talked about this a little while ago. But Boeing's still down in some pretty decent ranges. So Boeing announcing that they're pausing production of their airplane, the 737 MAX, and falling a little bit, but not holding up by support here by the 320. That could be interesting situation for Boeing buyers. They're really finding some support down here, and that's very encouraging. So AAXN bouncing up a little bit here, 0.63, nothing too much, but some support's better than no support. All right, let's move down to the actionable list. IPHI, new highs for IPHI. Uber up 14%, nice. Get your bottom buy in there. Where'd you get it? Oh, you got it down here on this breakout. Oh, good for you. I like it. There's that trend line break too. Cool. How's Lyft doing? Rolled over a little bit, rallying as we're talking right here at 44. Fortinet pulling in a little bit after a pretty good day yesterday. Actually, I really kind of like the action the past 3 days here. Look at this since the new year, up, up, up. Volume is up, price is up. So arguably any pullback into Fortinet would be a buying opportunity as it sits here in all-time highs. Not going anywhere. Look for some undercut and rally opportunities here. Anik, not in an uptrend, so it doesn't really qualify for an undercut and rally. GNC, same. ENDP, kind of the same. DocuSign, not an undercut and rally, is finding support here at moving averages, though, recently. 20-period moving average. Nothing but wicks down here, so that's not too bad. Don't know if I want to jump in front of it quite yet. Cena, CCC. Match.com, really working well out of those lows. A little undercut and rally, then off to the races. Yeah, see, I didn't buy it either, Rob. I didn't buy it under 200 either. It just wasn't part of my purview and my game plan. So I guess I'm not mad that I'm not really even kicking myself, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, it'd have been great. Obviously, it would have been great. But I think one thing that you have to, and you're going through your penny stock phase, so you're still newer to the game, and I don't look at penny stocks ever unless you bring them up. Then I'll look at them, and I don't know. You may get me back into them because I do like the super stock thing. I think there's some potential in some of those. My point is this: in time, you'll hear that voice, and you'll start to respect it. When you hear the voice, especially in something that is a really sound investment, like I don't view most stocks as investments, but there's some that are, and Tesla's one of them. Tesla, I think, is a big investment. It's something that's really going to grow over time. And when you have those names and you hear those voices, you're going to start putting two and two together. and saying, yeah, I'm at least going to buy some. I'm at least going to buy some, and then as you get profitable, you'll probably start adding a little bit more to those positions. But yeah, so that voice, you end up kicking yourself a little bit, but there's always another one, and there's always another one. Yeah, well, I will say this about the voice: don't confuse the voice of reason with. I'm not saying you're doing this, but don't confuse your voice of reason with stocks that you like and that aren't quality. And I don't know if KG is or isn't quality. I think it's still over-the-counter stock. So that right there has a strike against quality, it being an over-the-counter stock. But if you do your research and it's solid and stuff like that, you got to listen to that voice. But it has to be on the stocks that are, because there's a gambling voice. For me, there's lots of voices. There's a gambling voice, which I've learned to pretty much ignore. There's I've had a pullback voice for a while now, which is getting stronger and stronger on the pullbacks. There's the breakout voice, which as of lately is getting a little weaker, and my support voice is getting stronger and stronger too. So you just kind of have to compartmentalize what you're listening to. Well, there you go, Rob. You got a good voice there. Listen to it. Anyway, it's not too bad, maybe. Still think Fortinet on a pullback there, a little bit of a pullback could be good. It's popped up a little bit. CRM, this thing broke out yesterday. Was this the one that broke out? Yes, it did. Actual volume on a breakout. So we'll see what happens with this one. No undercutting rallies looks like to get you into this one early. And work rallying good there too. All right, guys, 807. I think I'm probably going to bounce here in a little bit. Actually, the same voice when ETH hit 80 and BTC at 3,300. It was the almost bought at 6,000. So even if it goes lower, a value voice. Yeah, it could be. It's funny when Bitcoin was down at was it 33 or 36? My range was it's 33. My range was 36 to 2,400 for the low, and it was that way for like a year on the YouTube channel. That was my bottom target for a long time. And when it was down there, I never thought about that because actually we never had capitulation. I revised my target lower, and it never popped into my head until someone mentioned it. They're like, you called the bottom. I'm like, when? When did I call the bottom? But yeah. So yeah, sometimes I don't listen to that voice. And so sometimes I don't listen to the voice. Can't get them all. But yeah, I mean, if all you do is wait, see, here's the thing about trading. You don't have to take every opportunity in the market. In fact, it's probably better if you don't. If you wait for those really good opportunities, and maybe for you it's a value voice like that, you only have to take 2 or 3 trades a year. Like in reality, you have to pay attention like you're trading. But if you don't trade and just wait for your setup and wait for your voice and wait for everything to align, which only, like I said, only happens a few times a year, maybe once, maybe twice. Could be a pretty boring year. But if all you do is that, you'll be well ahead of 99.9% of even successful, swing traders. I was doing that for a while, and I get a little caught up because I do these videos every day. So it's a little bit of my emotional. LK, I was looking for this. Yeah, this had a little bit of an undercut and rally. Right, we undercut yesterday here on LK, and we haven't really we've rallied through. So I think this is still loosely in a buyable position. We're pretty close here. Your stop would have to be at that low, and it's still pretty wide at about 5%. But you know what I'm saying. And IPHI getting up today. Little mini cup and handle breakout. Micron doing pretty good. So Facebook extending up here was slightly negative. Now it's actually up 0.7%. That's pretty good. Mentioned Coop in the broadening top breakout. That's doing pretty good so far as well. There's your breakout 3 days ago. Two pocket pivots in a row. Looks really nice. And Visa slowly moving up. Another one we were looking at the top was DPZ pulled back a little bit. Bounced up a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. Domino's hasn't really broken out yet, so nothing to buy there. Hexo, I think it is on. Well, I know I have an actual MJ watch list, and I believe it's on there. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, new low. Yeah, I never bought any additional MJ stuff. I'm just kind of waiting and seeing on most of these, especially with the MJ names. It's just a lot of, ooh, yeah, you're right. KG coming back pretty nicely, bouncing off that support line. We talked about that. Remember that? Talked about that support, and then yeah, bouncing off of that. That's a really good sign. That's a really good sign. So all this volume that came in over here, they're still involved over here. So that's really good. Wait for a pause or something, and then that could be a good position. Still with a lower high overall if it stalled around this area. To wait and see how those consolidations take place. So anyway, I got to get out of here, guys. It's 12, and I got to get everything ready to go for crypto. What's crypto doing, by the way? I saw it this morning. It was bull flagging. Looks like trying to roll over a little bit. A lot of the alts gave up a lot. Ooh, Link's up 7%. Man, these things just oscillate back and forth. It's so interesting when I look at this stuff every single day, and it's so interesting just to see the ebbs and flows. I don't know. I just kind of see. Now I wasn't expecting Link to do this. I'm not saying that, but you could just see the ebbing and the flowing. Like Atom, when the market was pumping, Atom was down yesterday, and then you had XLM finally with a nice update yesterday for the first time in a long time, and it's like caving in right now. But we talked about yesterday first, second, and third tier coins rallying. Now it's just a Bitcoin rally, and it's actually stalled up here right next to our trend line. Could be oh, you're lurking, Monkeytron. What the think you're out to murder me. But look at that, we hit that trend line right on the head. Or if that stalls us out. He's a stalker. Get him. Actually, I usually don't talk about crypto, but I was kind of curious what BTC was doing. Yeah, I looked at it for a second and saw we were green and everything else was red. Yeah, that should be interesting. Yeah, and I think that was the measured move too. I'm not sure about the measured move to the channel. That's the measured move from the pop, is what it is. The initial measured move we had there. Almost right on the head. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later in the Power Hour. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow in the Stock Market Hour. So go KG, and Tesla. All right, guys. Have a good day.